I'm a natural competitor and I'm 7 days away from my show, and I'm gonna walk you through my exact protocol day by day, what I'm eating, how I'm training, how my training changes, how I'm handling water and sodium. You're not ready coming in, peak week will not fix it.
It's peak week, 7 days out. I'm about to go to the gym. It's glute. So this is my last real workout that is still a part of my program. Still lowering volume and stuff, but starting Monday, I believe, I'll start doing full body pumps at the gym. I gotta check and make sure. But today's video, I'm going to share my whole peak week plan. Exactly what I'm doing, steps, food, cardio, workouts, preparation, posing, all of that jazz. So I'm gonna let you know my exact plan. And so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna show you my comparisons and all that shit, but I'm also gonna show you a little bit of my workout because I want to. Okay, bye.
It is peak week. Ignore the heavy makeup. I was trialing, I'm gonna do my makeup myself for the show, and I took the lashes off, but I'm going for this kind of vibe. I don't like the glitter sparkle that I used, so I'll use something else, and my lips will be different. This was just like, I was playing around with some stuff. And I don't have a foundation on, so it's like, not the whole look, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the most put together. And I think I'm gonna do some blowout curls in my hair. My hair is naturally, depends. The longer it gets, the wavier it gets. It's pretty straight right now because I blow dried it. But, so peak week can make or break months of prep, and most of the advice out there is either from enhanced athletes, overly generic, or just wrong for natural competitors. I'm a natural competitor and I'm 7 days away from my show, and I'm gonna walk you through my exact protocol day by day, what I'm eating, how I'm training, how my training changes, how I'm handling water and sodium, and the data that I'm using to make every decision. So no guesswork, let's get into it. So I'm Kara, and this is the Karadime. I have been personal training for almost a decade now, as well as I have my degree in exercise science. I am also a competitor and a coach. So my show date is a week from now, and peak week is the most Googled and most misunderstood part of prep. And everything I'm about to share is based on my body's data, refeeds I've tracked during prep, how I respond to carbs, what I have dialed in on. And this isn't a one size fits all template, but it is a framework you can learn from and apply to your own prep or fat loss phase if you want to do it like that. And so before I get into my protocol, I want to clear something up because I see a lot of confusion about what peak week is actually supposed to accomplish. And peak week is not, let's push harder for a week and see how much smaller we can get or how much more jacked we can look. It is a refinement phase and it's not a rescue mission. So if you're not ready coming in, peak week will not fix it. And the goal is to optimize glycogen storage so that you have fuller muscles and reduce reduce the water in between your muscles and your skin. And you don't want to dehydrate, and you want to maximize visual conditioning for the stage lighting. So it is a strategic, calculated final push using carb manipulation, training adjustments, and smart hydration. It is not starvation, extreme water cuts, diuretics, 3 days of zero carbs followed by a carb binge. These are largely enhanced athlete strategies. When you have anabolics in your system as a woman, you can get away with a little bit different things than you could if you are not enhanced. And that's not knocking them at all. They still have to work really hard. I've mentioned that before, but this is for natural people. Nothing against them. It's just not my preference. And so we have to be careful because we don't have the buffer of the performance enhancing compounds. And so for my carb loading strategy, carb loading is the centerpiece of peak week, and how you do it is going to depend entirely on how your body responds to carbs. So here's mine. Well, step one for anybody else, you need to know your baseline. So for my baseline, let me actually pull it up. So I obviously track food every day. Calories have been for the last month at an average of 1,600, and I do carb cycling. So I have days where I have more carbs, those are my leg days, and days where I have less carbs, those are my upper body or rest days. And right now for peak week, I want to say my leg days are 170 protein, 45 fat. I never go below 45 fat just for hormonal health. And then I manipulate carbs as my main lever. And then on those days I do 135. Everything else stays the same on the other days except for the carbs. So on my rest days, Mondays and Fridays, I do 100 grams of carbs. And then on my upper body days, I'm doing 120 grams of carbs, or 115, depending on how hungry I am. And that's what it's been on average coming into peak week. And then I also track what my body looks like 24 to 48 hours after a refeed. And I know that I look better with some food in me, but I don't look good after a large bump. And that's why I chose a linear progressive load. And so that means that I'm starting, Monday is gonna be normal. That's my 100-gram carb day. Then the next day I'm gonna bump it up past what my high carb day is, so past 135. I'm gonna go to 150, and then I'm gonna see how my body looks on Wednesday, and then decide if I want to add carbs, if I still don't look filled out, or if I look flat. And if I look spilled, I'll hold the carbs there, which means I'm holding more water than my muscles are absorbing. And if I look flat, of course, increase. If not, keep the same. And then just repeat that pattern until Thursday. Then Friday is largely back to baseline, just so I can see how my body does. And then that's what a linear progressive load is. So there are different types of loads. There's the front load where they eat more carbs towards the beginning of their peak week, so Monday and Tuesday, and then they taper down. So if they do better a few days after a refeed, that's what you would do. Mid load is in the middle of the week. That's what I tried last prep. So this one's a little bit different. So I loaded up on Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, I can't remember. And then a back load would be like you look the best the day after a refeed, and so you're refeeding on Thursday and Friday. And so mine's linear progressive, starting Tuesday, seeing how it looks as I progress. It's a lot safer for my body because I feel like my body is sensitive. It does good with more carbs in me, but it also reacts pretty intensely to stress. So holding on to water is something. But I'm also doing something different this prep with cardio, to where a couple weeks ago I phased out the Stairmaster and started doing incline walking to reduce some of the inflammation in my body. And then I've also been breaking up for the past week my 13,000 steps into 30-minute increments, because sometimes I would do an hour and a half. Then I've also been trying to stay off of my feet as much as I can, just again to not pool anything in my legs. And then stretching every day just to move some blood flow using the lacrosse ball foam roller, and just like moving my body in gentle ways to keep the blood flowing. And so also with food, I am only sticking to foods that my body is really familiar with. So no new foods, especially in peak week. And my go-to carb sources right now are sweet potatoes, just plain old rice cakes, cream of rice. And so I won't really stray from those. And I'll start to phase out some of the higher fiber vegetables just for bloating. And of course, no new protein sources. So I'm really leaning into cod, lean ground beef, and lean turkey, which is the 98.2 for the turkey and 93.7 for the ground beef, and chicken breast, and maybe some tuna if I need it while I'm traveling. And for sodium, I'm not eliminating it, I'm just not changing the amount. So I don't really cook with the salt, but I add it with soy sauce and stuff instead, so keeping that the same and not going crazy with adding or taking out sodium so that it doesn't throw off my water balance, because sodium helps balance water in your body. And then for protein and fat, as carbs go up, fat comes down a little bit because it helps with digestion a little, and proteins is going to stay relatively consistent. I might have a slight reduction towards show day just for digestion. As I add more carbs, I'll see how that kind of plays out. And again, first day for the linear progressive, I'm going 170 protein, 45 fat, 150 carbs. If that feels good, I'll go 170. If that looks good, I'll go 190. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is back to baseline. So that's kind of what I'm doing with food. Again, with water and sodium, this might surprise you, but I'm not cutting my water and I'm not eliminating sodium. And water cutting is, again, something that comes from the enhanced side of the sport. For natural athletes, dehydration can actually cause some muscle flatness, decreased vascularity, cramping, increased risk of fainting on stage, poor skin. Your skin looks really dry. Your muscles are 75% water, so taking away water makes them look smaller, not drier. And when you get your pump, you might have some carbs in you, but if you don't have water to fill it out, it's not gonna work the way that you want it to work. So again, keeping water consistent through peak week, and then an adjustment in the final 12 to 24 hours where I'll stop drinking my water earlier in the evening, so around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then just taper it coming into Thursday, Friday, but nothing extreme. And then I try to go for a little bit over a gallon a day. I wanna say it's around 130, 140 ounces. And so I'll keep that largely the same. And if I were to cut sodium, it would just undermine my carb load, and I'm being mindful. I'm not doing anything crazy with sodium. And I know that if I don't have enough, it makes me retain water overnight. So I'm making sure that I get enough electrolytes as well, so potassium and magnesium. And I'm also still using my creatine, as well as, what else? Oh, I take a greens and Benefiber for just making sure that I hit at least 23 grams of fiber a day, because it helps. Perfect. And then for training, your goal in the gym for peak week is not to gain any more muscle. That ship has sailed. Your goal is to stay full, stay tight, and protect everything that you've built. And that, again, is why I tapered away from the Stairmaster into the incline. Just like I said, cortisol stress tends to make my look really flat and stringy, and I don't want that. So the reason why you want to taper your training is to signal to the muscles to store glycogen, so you get that pump up effect, and also reduce muscle damage and soreness going into show day. So again, reducing inflammation, keeping the nervous system fresh, and you still train. You're not going sedentary all week. And for my training structure, on Monday is just my cardio day, but I'm going to make it a full body pump. So something short and sweet, probably hitting like some glute stuff and some shoulders, moderate weight, higher rep pump focus, short rest periods. I want to deplete the glycogen to prime for the load. And then Tuesday, and that's today and tomorrow, and then today, Sunday. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm reducing the volume, hitting the major muscle groups with 2 to 3 working sets, still lifting relatively heavy to maintain fullness. And then Thursday is very light movement. I'll probably do a banded workout in the Airbnb, keeping the joints warm There's a pool at my Airbnb, so maybe I'll do some swim for my cardio just to let my body relax. And then Friday, the day before the show, maybe an optional 15 to 20 minute pump. I'll probably do maybe a yoga flow or nothing taxing. And then maybe steps if I feel like it helps with my mindset and I'm a little nervous. And then for show day, just the backstage pump up. And for my pump up, I'm gonna be doing some banded side steps, banded squats, banded kickbacks, as well as some upright rows because they give me a really good shoulder pump, some regular rows, bicep curls, lateral front raises, really trying to get some blood pooling in my delts, specifically in my back, so that they look really nice on stage, and then making sure that my glute and my glute hamstring tie-in is super pumped up as well, so that I look really good in my back pose. I will be honest with you, I have not quite learned at what point during backstage to start pumping up, because at last experience, there was just not very many people in my category, so I didn't really know who to go off of. And so honestly, I'm gonna watch what everyone else is doing and start pumping up when the other ladies that I'm competing with are pumping up. But I would ideally like it to be 10 minutes before I go on stage. The last time they didn't tell me when that would be because they didn't really have a good way to track that, of course. And so I will have a better chance this time because there's some people who are coached. And so I'm just bringing a long band with the handles and a 20-pound, and then just like my favorite booty band, which is just like one of the rubber ones. I do not like the cloth ones. And then for cardio, I'm keeping it the same, low intensity, 45 minutes tomorrow, 40 minutes on Tuesday, 45 minutes on Wednesday. And then the walking is 13,000 steps, and it can help me deplete that glycogen a little bit faster. Keeps my mind calm. No HIIT. HIIT is something that my body does not react very well to, so I've been keeping incline walking. I did HIIT earlier when I was having more food, but if I'm in a deficit, HIIT just like thrashes my body and my look, so I'd rather do burnout sets with the bands. But there's that, and that's about it. So that's kind of what I'm planning. And the main mistakes I want to avoid, and I want you guys to avoid, whether I've made them myself or I've seen other people make them or watched it happen. Don't try anything new in peak week. No foods, new supplements, no new posing. Stick with your posing routine. Nothing untested. Oh, back to posing. I will be doing posing 10, 15 minutes a day. I really just go through my cycle, and I've been practicing my individual routine, and that's about it. Just make sure 10 to 15 minutes a day, get your flow down. Don't change it. Keep it. Practice it. Feel good, confident, sexy. No cutting water if you're natural. Try not to do that. Don't go crazy on cardio to tighten up. It will deplete your glycogen and make you flat and fatigued. And don't obsess over the scale. Weight is going to go up when you carb load. That's water being stored in the muscle. And so that means it's working. And don't skip sleep. Growth hormone, muscle recovery, glycogen storage all happen during sleep. So sleep is a non-negotiable, minimum 8 hours. If you feel like taking a little nap and you can, take a little nap. And then don't compare your peak week to somebody else's. You never know. If they're just posting pictures and you're comparing, you never know what they're actually looking like in real life. And you just need to focus on your peak week. And whether you're competing against that person or they may not be, or if it's someone that you're not competing against but you look up to, they may not be natural and their protocol does not apply to your physiology. Just don't compare. And remember, it's you versus you. You want to be better than the last time you stepped on stage. And I'm a sore loser, like I said, but that is the reality of it. You just need to compete with yourself and be satisfied with that inside yourself at the end of the day. And if you came in not as lean as you wanted, not as big as you wanted, the next show is an opportunity to blow your past look out of the water. So be positive. And again, biggest mistake is don't panic and make last minute changes. Trust your data, trust your prep. If you have a coach, trust your coach, or trust yourself if you're like me. But other than that, peak week's not a mystery, it's a method. And when you approach it with calm, data, preparation, thinking ahead, documenting things, it becomes an exciting week. And it's the most exciting week of your entire prep, and you've done the work. Trust yourself. Once you get on stage, it's just muscle memory, and just know that your body is ready. And I'm so excited to show you guys what show day looks like. And I'll probably do a couple what I eat in a day during peak week or what I'm packing in my bag or something along those lines. Plan on doing a couple peak week videos and of course like a show day video. And I will get to see my sister there, which is really exciting. But please let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. And if you have any peak week comments, please let me know. Other than that, please subscribe if you want to see my journey, and I'll be posting a lot more in the coming weeks. So thank you and happy peak week.